Hi, friends. Today I'm just going to go talk a little bit about the Cliffs because I missed this release, this artwork right here. I wasn't really kind of streaming when it came out. I really like this release. It's from like a month or two ago, so I'd still say it's new. Um, I had a really long trip that I just got back from, and I saw some family as well, which is great. Um, Lots of nature, lots of inspiration, and everything. So I'm a little bit tired, but I'm in a great mood. I'm ready to talk a little bit about this release. And I've just been working on some tracks, tracks for Epidemic Sound, as well as myself, and just some collaborations I'm still working on, which is great. Got my little $10 baller hardware shirt, the kind of local hardware store that I like to go to. Um, and everything. So yeah, just kind of wanted to jump into it. It's three tracks from a month or two ago. Album art was designed by Ryan Cassidy, who's a graphic designer I work with whenever I want to go with maybe a slightly more experimental design, with this kind of like almost mixed media feel, even though I don't really know his entire process. But yeah, he worked on the Cliffs for this one. So this whole release is like very uh, almost like crossing into melodramatic, I think. But with that optimism and hope is definitely there. And it's like really for me has been like a huge return for um my like orchestral kind of ambient sound. I kind of got away from that a little bit. I feel like I like what I've been writing a lot in the last like couple months or so. And I just really think that aside from my like piano videos that I have on YouTube and just like piano tracks that I've been releasing lately on Spotify and Apple Music, I feel like this is a sound I really like. Um, and I thought, what's more dramatic than like the cliffside? Lots of drama, lots of poetry been written about cliffs, ocean, all that. And I just wanted to kind of contribute a little bit in my small way. Three of these tracks. But yeah, in a great mood. Happy to jump back into streaming. If you guys have any questions about anything, please let me know in the chat or in comments. If you're seeing this on YouTube, um, chat's always great, but just want to kind of give a little context, talk through it. And first track is going to be title track, The Cliffs. Just a couple minutes long. Here we go. I like putting bells and piano together. It's an electric piano and a regular piano. There's an organ in here. This is a pipe organ you're hearing. You're hearing something kind of airy. That's pipe organ. Obviously, guitar and strings are paralleling each other in the left ear. Like a descending melodic line where it just kind of starts like dun 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 dun. I like this part. I know it sounds pretty stupid for me to say that. I like this part because I wrote it, but I'm really critical of my own stuff, and it's nice when I can still like something and not regret it or be hard on myself. Trumpets, really far in the back. Should feel like they're kind of coming from another room in a concert hall with the organ. Everything has like a partner. Trumpets and organ, strings and guitar, piano, electric piano, bells. everything's working together. You probably heard the electric piano, like mirrors what the piano's doing and repeats it higher. I thought that was kind of cute. And then this kind of outro happening. And that like kind of the strings are so short, right? And they keep just kind of like driving forward, pushing everything towards the end of the track. I like the cliffs. Like I said, just can be so hard on myself. So when I'm saying something like that, like you might be like, "Oh yeah, he's an artist. Of course, he likes what he's writing." Like, oh, not really trying to be full of myself in any way. Honestly, it's just like, again, it can be super hard on myself. And listening through this, like I've been working on so much since this release. Hearing it again, this is really the first time I've listened to it since release. It can just be kind of tough, as you guys probably can understand, if you're ever, working on anything creative. So the second track's going to be In Times I Think of Us, a little bit more romantic, a little bit more kind. The first track is like all drama, the cliffs, and that melodrama that landscape provides. Second track, In Times I Think of Us. I kept the same instruments, except so much more spacious, this one. Not as focused, as intense as the first. More room to breathe and relax. Hopefully you guys can pick up on that. But that was the intention that I was going for. Except marimba is like now matched with the strings. That little rolling kind of percussive thing you hear. That's marimba. I was going for something like a little bit more almost angelic with this, like washed out with reverb. Still have a bass to ground you, that like low tone you hear. Little rhythmic patterns going on in all the keyboards. Keeps going up. Here we go. Hopefully the romance of this one comes through. I think it does. Just really trying to tell a love story that has a little bit more layers to it. I think I wrote this one kind of in character almost, this 3-track release, The Cliffs. I think there's a story that I kind of was trying to go for with that melodrama and romance. And that's hopefully what came across. I think it does. And then moving on to the last one. Moving on. It's like I'm giving a presentation. But no, just kind of wanting to not take too much time, almost between movements. Like if you ever go to a classical concert, I think this really works really well, just going boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3, without too much talking in between. So here comes Fighting for You. Last track. Almost the most like pop-oriented, repetitive piano melody. I think if I could remix this with some sort of like vocal, that would be fitting, but there's not enough time in the day for that. think the title is pretty self-explanatory to what I was going for on this track. Fighting for you. Could be a friend, could be a partner, could be romantic, could just be someone that you miss. I do think that in this kind of character I was writing in, I do think it's romantic. Definitely a love song. For me. For you, maybe it's not. And that's totally reasonable. Separate the art from the artist a little bit. So whatever you feel is good. I love marimba. Strings are taking a more supportive role, right? You're not hearing these big sweeping violin melodies. Violin plucking, pizzicato, playful. I think for this one, it was almost like you're coming back to someone or trying to win them back, and you're almost like a little bit wounded, but it's still, there's like playful element to it. Because at the end of the day, it's a love song. And then an unresolved ending, because this is the end of the story, but you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how it's going to be resolved. I kind of like to keep it open ended between the three tracks. So the cliffs, in times I think of us, fighting for you. I think it's a nice, clear story progression from those three. I really like how kind of breezily it moves on. And again, if there's any thoughts you guys had or any sort of comments, if you're watching on YouTube as well, happy to answer them or hear what you guys think from the cliffs. Again, artwork is Ryan Cassidy. I think this is like the first kind of re-entry into that big orchestral sound that I've been doing um, in the past. I got kind of like more cinematic and writing in character, but I think coming back to something like this that does sound like that spacious, nostalgic, romantic, dreamlike sound can be really nice. And there's definitely more of this coming as well. Ton. I'm writing a ton of music in the last uh, I don't know, 4 months, like something like 30 tracks are being written. I'm finishing up the album, which I've been talking about for a while. I have no expectations for the album. No expectations. I don't think you guys should have an expectation either for that live classical, very classical album that's coming out in the undetermined amount of time as Satoshi wraps it up. I talked about Satoshi's involvement, that amazing mixing engineer from Everything Everywhere All at Once and Elden Ring. Um, as well as John Chapman, who recorded it. I mentioned him as well, if you haven't checked out that video. And I have Salmon People, my music for Alaska Airlines. That's the soundtrack. I've already shared the video a ton, talked about it. I've played the music on here. That's actually coming to streaming in 3 days. So YouTube will be already out when people watch it on YouTube. But if you're watching now or in the near future on my Twitch, it's going to be out in 3 days. So please check that out on streaming with Alex. I have another soundtrack collaboration with Alex, Alexis Solly, coming out in July, and I have a solo piano track coming out as well. But I really am trying to get back into that big sound, that like spacious sound, almost ambient um, kind of sound, but with a melodic focus, and just working on more commissions as well, which is great. So if you ever have any need for music, or you know anyone, reach out and I can get you in touch with someone. Or if it's something simple, I can just, respond to you directly, maybe. Um, but yeah, it's been great. I also checked, I don't like to check my streams. I don't really do that. If anyone's wondering, I know I'm very lucky to be in the position I'm in to have had success on streaming. And I'm never going to complain about that my entire life. It is sometimes hard to like keep that in the back of my head though when I look at streams, because so much of it is cyclical and changes with the seasons and with like interests. So you never know what's going to be popular. I talked about Coastal Romantique from like 2 years ago that's now doing really well. And I don't look at streams, but I just checked um, recently and I found that like I it's not a huge milestone, so I didn't want to make it a huge video because usually milestones are in like tens, 50s, hundreds. But I did get over like 123 million streams on Spotify. So I'm working towards 125. Um, and Apple Music is doing really well. So thank you for everyone who's listened on Apple Music. Thanks for everyone who continues to support on Spotify. And I just felt, happy to see that people are still listening. Back catalog, current catalog, anything that you like, every playlist ad, every share helps. And I'm just trying to make music you guys like, music that I like, and hopefully this gave you a little bit more context on the Cliffs. So I'll have some more info on some stuff next week. Like I said, I'm a little tired from the trip I went on, but I'm in a great mood. I love going over stuff like this with you guys. And if you want to hear me talk about something else in the future, any other releases you want some more context on or know a little bit more about, please let me know. Thanks again, and take care, guys.